This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A-game. A-made, no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This is an A-game, better bring your A-game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you watch your A-game. A-made, no rain from...
Hey now, it's the Mike and JD show, and I'm your host, Mike Gilbert, and I'm joined as always by JD, by God, Oliva. How you doing, JD?
I just turned in my final grad school paper.
Nice.
I'm done.
Look at us. Look at us. Both of us, master's degrees. Holy shit.
In our 40s.
And people think that we're a couple of fucking idiots, but look at us. Like, I got my MBA this year. What's your degree in? Like,
career technical education. Because that's what I am. I'm a tech teacher. I teach video production and graphic design. So that's what I got my master's degree in. And I'm about to get my 45 plus, which is going to be way easier than the master's degree. But yeah, man, we're well educated. Don't let those comments in the Bischoff corny video fool you.
yeah, man. We pissed some people off with that one, but that was by design. Like I clearly was trying to antagonize their fan base to get them to comment on the video, and it worked. And that was like almost a $3 video. So hell yeah, worth it.
All right. You got to pick on two carnies and made $3 in the process, $1.50 a piece.
Hell
After
yeah.
taxes, about $1 a piece. So all right, we won.
Yeah. Hey, before we get started, we have a little bit of an announcement to make. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you already know. And if you're a fan of Brace for Impact, you already know. But because I am moving here in a couple of weeks, the movers are coming like in less than 2 weeks, actually, to my house. And we're packing up. I got to go to California for a little bit. And then we're going to drive across the country from California to South Carolina and go sightseeing along the way. We're actually going to go like starting up in Northern California in the mountains, and we're going to go all the way down through Southern California up to Vegas, going up through Utah and then into Yellowstone and then back down and across the continent into South Carolina. It's my retirement trip. It's what I've always dreamed of, and I'm finally doing it. It's the only time I'm ever going to have this much time off. So I'm going to have like multiple months off of work for the first time in my life. So we're doing that, and it would just be way too much for me to be able to keep up with podcasting. Not only like watching wrestling. And some people have like asked me, like, well, why can't you just do some writing, do something on the side? Or can't you just do your phone podcast? I was like, look, that was my plan. That was exactly what I wanted to do. And that's why I hesitated to make this hiatus announcement. But here's the thing. I'm the wheelman in the family. We're driving across the country. I'm going to be driving day and night, right? And sleeping in campers and sleeping in hotels and all this and that the whole time. I'm not going to have time to watch wrestling. So what we did is we paused billing on our Patreon. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, no need to cancel. Although I did like foolishly tell people to cancel. Turns out I didn't need to tell you guys that. I can just pause the billing, because what I don't want to do is take your money if I'm not giving you content. And I'm not saying there won't be any content during that time whatsoever. There might be, but there's not going to be regular enough content in order for me to warrant taking your money. And I'm not willing to do that. I'm not that type of guy. So we're paused billing on the Patreon. YouTube will stay active. There might be content here and there. We don't know what it's going to look like, but it's going to take me a long time to get to South Carolina. And then once I get there, got to get all my household goods. The movers got to come get everything set up. And then immediately I got to go to New York City. And I might actually be at Slammiversary because the timing works out, but I got to be there for a conference. And then after that, I'm going to be off and running into the corporate world. So we're looking at maybe not even doing a show until August. So next week, TNA Rebellion, the reaction show, live afterwards, old school, original Brace for Impact crew, Mike and JD back for one more Brace for Impact before I hit the road for a couple of months. So it should be a very special episode next week. So look forward to that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I find it so ironic that I finally finished with everything and I finally have time to dedicate. And now Mike has to move across the country and we're taking a several-month hiatus. In all honesty, dude, I think it's good for you. I think you're a wonderful father, a terrific husband, and slightly insane for driving literally across the country, up and down with a 6-year-old and a baby.
and a
God,
baby. Yeah,
God
It's-
have mercy on your soul.
dude. We thought long and hard about not doing it, and then we were like, when will we ever get this opportunity again?
No, you
And
have
I'm
to.
just like, I just don't see this opportunity ever coming up. And it's been, Ashley and I have been talking about doing this since we first got together. I've never been to Yellowstone. I've never seen the northern tier states. I've been to Idaho. My grandpa lives there, but I've never like went across. I've never seen any of those states up there. There's military bases along the way that we're going to be able to stay at, and so that's going to be cool. And then I got family in Missouri. I'm going to be able to stay there like a week, and then we're going to go over the Smoky Mountains on into South Carolina from there. And so I'm super excited about it. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. I just spent a week in Kauai, and it took me almost 3 days to watch an episode of Impact. And that's when I realized like there's just no fucking way that I'm going to be able to like watch wrestling and then podcast about wrestling while I'm on this vacation.
It's cool, man. Like the last few months of the show when everything kind of weighed on me, I was pretty out about not really enjoying wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to dig it again. So I think having the pressures of, having to be on, because I mean, like, I never thought about really being a part of pro wrestling media myself until I just on a whim applied to write for Fansided 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And now here we are. And it's like, for a long time, wrestling wasn't fun anymore. It's like work, and like it's work that I kind of like put off and dreaded. So I'm looking forward just to being able to like tweet about wrestling and not think about it, and just like enjoy it. And the summertime is going to be cool. Like I'm going to write a book. I'm going to keep killing. Now that I'm done, I'm going to finish Killing the Town. Cause a lot of people have said, hey, when are you going to finish that story? And I've got time. So I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to keep the Patreon will be free, right?
Yeah. Patreon's still active and it's going to be free. So if we can post anything, it'll just be posted to that, or it could be posted right here on the YouTube. If we ever like, I might just be like in Yellowstone, like riding a bison and say, fuck it, let's do YouTube. Like, I don't know. I might, we'll see.
I could see you doing that actually.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna worry about watching wrestling, and I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna finish Killing the Town. That's not gonna take me long, and I'm gonna write another book because it's been it's been too long. It's been too long.
Yeah, I feel a nice break is gonna probably do us both pretty good. I think being not forced is the wrong word, but feeling compelled to podcast when you're not really feeling the product, which has happened to both of us at times, can be taxing. And it could be like mentally taxing and creatively taxing. There were times where I had to like review Impact and the show just wasn't very good. And here I am just trying to make it seem like a little bit interesting. And that can be tough. And so like, honestly, wrestling shows, you should really think of the podcasters when you're putting this content out. Like we need better content from you guys so that we can make money off of you. Like,
you selfish fuckers. Like we want to, when we did well, when the Good Times for Mike and JD show was Brawl Out. Boy, did we have good months during that whole time. When CM Punk was going ape shit with the Young Bucks, it was a golden time for Mike and JD. Like, we need more of this. Yeah. And it sounds like WWE gave us stuff to work with this week. Kind of a disastrous PR week for them.
You know what? Some people keep telling me disastrous PR. I don't see it that way. Roman Reigns came out as a MAGA. MAGA's fine with that culture.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like that's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Triple H praised Vince, and it was nothing but cheers. And then Roman Reigns wrestled last night. One of the most over guys in the company. Still not a single boo in the house. Literally, nobody fucking cares about any of this stuff except for people on Twitter.
No, I'm not saying that. I mean, like MAGA, he did come out as a MAGA guy, even though calling himself a centrist Democrat, which just shows that you really don't believe in anything. Like, I don't understand how, whatever, that we're not getting into politics in this. But I mean, like, we're talking about WWE fans. We're talking about the people that will still cover Vince McMahon, right? Yeah. We're talking about people that'll still, cheer No Chance in Hell, when the guy's been, all the, these allegations, shall we say. Like, but it's more than that. It's just like the way they handle things, the way, like, even Nick Khan no one came off like above anything. Like, they all came off
Nick Khan
petty.
Yeah, Khan and Triple H both came off like little like gotten two bitches.
Yeah. Like I kind of expect that from I almost called Triple H Hogan. I almost had that Freudian slip.
after, I don't know if you saw any of the Hall of Fame, but after that big wank fest where they dedicated the entire night to him, I didn't watch his speech. I couldn't do it. There's just no way I could do that. But there was video package after video package of them all just jerking him off. And then he came out at the end of the show and dedicated an hour to himself. You know, that's Hogan-esque to say the least.
I mean, it is. Like, is there anybody with worse self-esteem and lower opinion of himself and has to be blown by everyone in his presence than Paul Levesque? Like, I always thought Johnny Gargano was a bit of a boner, but the fact that he's walking around with a photograph of him and his son in his pocket and his wife got that on her shoes. Like, I understand their jobs might be super secure because neither of them are super over at the moment. So I know you got to do what you got to do, but good Lord, even in a business full of carny pukes, that's a step above. Like, I like my principal. She's my friend, but I ain't getting her a picture of like this on a t-shirt. Give me a fucking break.
Me and my commander have and my commander's done a lot for me, and I've done a lot for my commander. We've had a good working relationship. I would never do that. I would never wear his face on my on my t-shirt, or you know what I mean, or on my shoes. Are you kidding me?
Because you have self-respect. I mean, part of being a pro wrestler is, but that's the thing, is part of being a pro wrestler means you have to throw your dignity and self-respect away. Like Triple H did for years and years of his career, hence why he has to overcompensate for this now. Man must have a 2-inch penis. Like, I can't understand how somebody else could like have such little self-respect for themselves that they have to like make sure the world knows that they're kissing their boss's ass. Like,
it was bizarre. And I'll be honest, surreal. It's the complete opposite of Vince, where Vince wouldn't let you thank him during those Hall of Fames.
True.
Not Triple H era. He, like, you almost have to like kiss the ring as you go on to stage, and you got to make sure that you thank Triple H and praise Triple H at every chance you get.
You genuflect in his presence, for he is divine. Like, it's unfucking believable. Unfucking believable.
Dude, and I watched some of the Hall of Fame because I wanted to see Lex go in, and I knew Lex was getting up out of that wheelchair and standing up to give that speech. I knew it was coming, but I wanted to see it because I love Lex Luger. I've always loved Lex Luger. And I don't know why, but I'm Facebook friends with Fred Ottman. No idea why. Yeah, I just have, like, every once in a while, like, a wrestler will pop up as like people you should know, and it was Fred Ottman. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll throw him the ad, and he accepted, and now we're like Facebook friends.
Do you comment on Tugboat's pictures?
I do. Yeah,
like, of course you do.
Yeah, he announced that he was going in the Hall of Fame. I said, "Congrats, Fred." It's like, that's my pal. Fred's my pal. Yeah.
I had Mick Jagger show up at mine last week, people you may know, and I was like, damn, Facebook thinks I'm way cooler than I am. I did not have the guts to try to friend request Mick Jagger. I'll be honest with you.
But it's very likely not the real Mick Jagger.
Of course, it's not the real Mick Jagger, but I mean, like, it's probably just something run by his people, I'd assume.
Yeah. But so it was a weird like PR week, but it was only looked down upon by guys like us and guys like on our side of the media sphere. But like the people like the Sports Illustrated and like Denise Salcedo's and like those types, just another day at the office. They got nothing but praise on top of praise on top of praise. No big deal. Positive story after positive story. And then they had a crazy weekend where they sold over 60,000 tickets both nights.
We're not allowed to criticize Denise, Mike. You should not say those words.
No, she fucking sucks. Sorry.
She's above criticism. If you criticize Denise Salcedo,
she's terrible.
People will be I know she just kisses ass on everybody and has no opinions or thoughts. But if you say those things, people are in your mentions talking about how much of a misogynist and how much of a piece of crap you are.
Yeah, no, dude, I am a dad to a daughter, and it is okay to critique somebody regardless of their gender. I don't care. She stinks.
I agree.
Yeah.
But she gets to lob, Entertainment Tonight style softballs, and that's what she wants to do. So whatever. I think the whole thing was kind of, I don't know if gross is the word I would use, but expected. It's interesting because I keep hearing how they're not worried about competition, yet they keep making a lot of moves to try to, squash competition. Yeah,
let's get into that. So, top story of the weekend, which totally caught me off guard, and I guess if I were paying attention, it would not have. I read Lucha Blog's post. Everybody go check out CubsFan.com.
He's the best.
Yeah. if you like, if you're interacting with a Cubs fan and you're interacting with Rob Viper, you need to just ask questions and you know what I mean, and like listen to what they got to say, because they're like super smart guys. They're like the foremost experts when it comes to lucha libre. Gerard, I love you, buddy.
You can't tell Rob Viper he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, my friend. I'm sorry.
It's so funny, but but yeah, he got a little bit of heat for that. That's so funny. But Gerard can take it. He can take it.
He can. He's fine.
Yeah, but so anyway, he had a great article essentially saying that not only had this been coming for a long time, AAA has been wanting to sell this thing for like 25 years. Dave Meltzer said the same thing on Wrestling Observer Radio. I didn't know any of that. I knew they weren't in a good position. I knew that the pandemic destroyed the company, and Vampiro's booking, tried to kill it, and then Conan the last several years has been terrible for the company. They've been running it into the ground. And now it's into the ground. WWE went in and bought the thing, and it looks like WWE, according to what they're saying, and people are like corroborating this. WWE's going in there just to run AAA and make it like the number one lucha libre brand in Mexico. They're coming to take over, that area, and Mexico is a country, is a territory that WWE has never really been able to figure out. They have never been able to be dominant in that country, and now this is their opportunity by running AAA.
Here's what's interesting about that whole thing, and a lot of these I'm just parroting, but I've done some thinking about this too. WWE has struggled with any Latino star that's not named Rey Mysterio.
Yeah,
who they didn't make, by the way. Rey Mysterio was not made in WWE. He was made in WCW. They just pooched him, and then WWE reset him back to 1998-ish with some steroids. And then he got super popular over there.
Yeah,
which
now he's an all-time legend.
Oh, he's one of the greatest of all time. There's no one can argue that about Rey Mysterio. But they've struggled with every other Latino performer they've ever had, every single one. So the fact, and that's interesting, is they don't get the market. They've proven that time and again. And when Triple H in his Triple H, Paul Levesque, in his press conference talked about how they're going to keep a AAA as is, and they're going to let it be traditional lucha libre. AAA has never been traditional lucha libre. AAA was founded on the idea that what EMLL, not CMLL yet, was broken and needed to be fixed. So you look at the original AAA, when it was Eddie Guerrero, Conan, Rey Mysterio, when worlds collide, like it was like modern lucha libres was what they were selling us, not the traditional stuff that went on in Arena Mexico. Now it's garbage matches and some high spots. It's
Pagano doing death matches with skewers in his head.
Correct. The stuff that they bitch about John Moxley, that those same people bitch about John Moxley about, and the pizza grater from Nick Gage. Now you got AAA. Now you get to see what they're doing with Pagano and Psycho Clown. And like, that's a garbage wrestling promotion that also happens to feature Vikingo and Laredo Kid. And there's it's funny because a lot of the Mexican talent that works for WWE was not really happy with AAA the last few years of their career. Yeah. Lucha Brothers included in that.
Yeah, well, I get the feeling they're going to be happy with it now that WWE is running it. And I think I don't think it's any coincidence that WWE has been really signing up a lot of lucha libre talent, right? And actually have done a pretty good job of featuring them. I know they've had some start and stop pushes with Dragon Lee. He had to go away for a little bit. I think he was on paternity leave or something like that. So, but I think a lot of those people are now going to go back to AAA and kind of be a part of their show, because WWE is going to want to go into Mexico and become the number one. So how do they do that? They're gonna like feature Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, the Lucha Brothers, and El Hijo del Fantasma, and all these cats that were pretty popular in AAA at one point in time. And then they're also gonna go in and outbid CMLL, most of which are probably not on ironclad contracts, and they're very likely not making a ton of money. And so WWE is gonna go in there, throw the money around, and probably take a lot of their top talent too, and then ultimately like reset the scene over there.
Now here's where I don't know if that holds up. It's literally because of who's running AAA. The people who've ran AAA, they do draw for their Triple Mania shows, But those are, it's not like it was a healthy it's not like it's been a healthy company for a long time.
No.
So, but then the series it is, who runs AAA, right? Is it going to be the people currently doing it, or are you going to have WWE doing it? And WWE has proven that they don't understand the marketplace.
Correct.
Right. And they're going to invest a lot of money into something that's not going to come money back, and that's not going to bring them a bunch of money back. Because, I mean, like, wrestling's a cheap night out in Mexico. Yeah. Right.
If their plan is to keep Conan in place, which that seems like that would be the case, because Rey Mysterio is so close to Conan. Conan's running that place into the ground. Like, he is creatively bankrupt.
Oh yeah,
AAA is the worst television show I've ever seen in my life.
It's awful. I have not watched AAA shows since Kenny Omega was doing stuff with them. It's terrible. It's a terrible product. Like, and again, WWE is going to come down there. It's going to make it look better. But here's the thing, those people who they're talking about traditional Lucha Libre. Traditional Lucha Libre is CMLL. AAA fans are a completely different breed. Like, what this is going to now, here's the thing, is now we've created these. I firmly believe that this was done again to squash competition, because WWE wants to be not only the market leader, they want to be the market definer.
Yeah.
So now they're going to start buying up to. I would not be surprised if they buy Noah from Abima and start doing the same thing.
Okay, Kevin Kelly floated out there, New Japan, and several other people kind of latching onto that about maybe New Japan gets bought, or that partnership switches over. WWE makes an investment into New Japan, and then they become partners.
I mean, I guess anything is possible.
You know what? It sounds ridiculous, but at this point, I wouldn't rule anything out, to be honest with you. New Japan's fucking poor.
New Japan is poor, but this is okay. Now you got the case. Now we're leveraging billionaires and billionaire companies against each other. So if I'm Tony Khan, I don't know if that's going to happen, because I do think there are financial ties between the Khan family and New Japan at this point. Like, I do think
the Khan family owns a piece of New Japan, or is it just like they have a contract?
I don't know.
Or they do a certain amount of shows and then New Japan gets money.
I think they do a certain amount of shows. New Japan gets money from it. I think there are more formal ties, because there are talents that have dual contracts, right? There are multiple talents that have dual contracts. There are announcers who have dual contracts. I'm firmly of the mind that there is stronger business ties than we particularly know of. And I'm also of the mind that if WWE came sniffing around Bushi Road, that the word would get back to Tony, and Tony would buy it before they had a chance.
I could definitely see that. I don't think Tony would probably try to move heaven and earth to prevent New Japan from selling to WWE.
As well, he should. We do not need, and this is what bothers me, is all these wrestling fans that want WWE to own all of wrestling, and I don't understand that. I don't understand the necessity for having one game of talent, because what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. We saw what happened with NXT UK, right? It wasn't a traditional UK show. It was a WWE show done with UK talent. That's what's going to happen in Mexico, because Conan's going to fuck it up, because Conan stinks. And I'm going to get a DM. And like, what's going to happen is they're going to bring in their own people who think they understand traditional Lucha Libre. They're going to say, well, we'll just hire some, Mexican guys to go run it, but no one who has any proven track record creatively. So I don't think this is a slam dunk idea.
I'm very curious to see how this plays out and how this works. This is WWE's attempt at globalization. Mm-hmm. I think you're onto something. I think Noah would probably be more likely. I don't think Cyber Agent, like, I know Noah is like one of their bigger properties. I think Cyber Agent would give it up.
Cyber Agent sold them a long time ago. Yeah, it's Abima. They have a good. WWE has a relationship with Abima already.
Yeah.
Right. They already have, like, Inamura and guys like that have been working Noah and WWE. They've had almost going back and forth. No, here's the thing too. We don't talk about this. Everyone thinks New Japan is the market leader, right? Who is the market leader in Mexico? It's not AAA, it's CMLL. Yeah. They bought AAA. Who is the market leader in Japan? It's New Japan. But New Japan is being outdrawn in 2025 by Noah in Korakuen Hall. Not anywhere else, but in Korakuen Hall, which is like the hub of wrestling in the city of Tokyo. Thank you, Joe Lanza. Like Abima Noah, I should say, is outdrawing them. So Noah is the guys they want to get in on, right? Quite frankly, Noah's the one who's booking their younger talent better than New Japan is right now. Team 2000X is the hottest thing going in Japan currently. So I mean, it makes far more
New
sense.
Japan's kind of a mess right now.
Oh, it's absolutely a mess right now. But I do think Tanahashi has some ideas. They are in a leadership change. Things are honestly moving in a better spot. With Goto as champion, they're drawing better than they have with anything in years since the pandemic. That's reality. Now, what's nice about this is, and I don't like the idea of two billionaires fighting each other, but it kind of brings us back to the 90s, I guess. So I mean, like, so now we have these alliances. It's funny, you have these alliances set with WWE and AAA and Noah on the one side, with AEW, CMLL, and New Japan on the other. And it would not surprise me to see Tony Khan get heavily invested in CMLL financially as well, right?
Right.
CML struggled, like CML has had some bad years, but they've drawn very well the last few years. You know, specifically
CMLL,
with the
they're hot right now.
They are hot right now. Like WWE did not buy the hot property in Mexico. They didn't. Like, and it's funny too, because the hub of CMLL is Mexico City, right? Which is in the south side, like the southern, more centrally located in Mexico. Whereas AAA tends to draw in the northern part of the country. So, I mean, like, if they think they're going to bring that AAA name to the different parts of the country, it's not going to be what they think it is. And this is, again, WWE not quite understanding the marketplace. But
if they infuse some money into the AAA name,
which
they stick Rey Mysterio Jr. and the Lucha Brothers and Dragon Lee on those shows, and they steal some talent from CMLL, we might be having a different conversation. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know who's going to book the show. I don't know who's going to promote the show. The people they have in there right now can't stay because they have ran it into the fucking ground.
I agree.
And it's not a financial reason why it's been ran into the ground. It's been ran into the ground because they just have bad ideas, right?
Right. I just don't think that they understand that, because WWE has struggled. They haven't struggled nearly as much in Japan as they have Mexico, right? American style wrestling can work in Mexico. Look at New Japan. New Japan's American style booking right now.
Yeah, I saw WWE back in the day. It's the Budokan Hall, and there was a lot of people there.
That's what I'm saying. WWE can draw in They can't draw in Japan all the time, but they can draw in Japan. They can't draw in Mexico that well.
Yeah.
But so that's my thought is, are they going to be able to infuse that WWE brand into Mexico while CMLL is still strong? I don't have an answer for that. That's the question that everyone's going to ask. And this is, but I'm not bemoaning this. I don't think it's a great thing for Mexican wrestling, but I think it's a great thing for AAA because it's been a ghost promotion for a while. I think competition is good.
Yeah, that family's been trying to get out of the AAA business for a long time, and they finally found a company willing to come in and take it over. So we'll see how it plays out. We're going to continue to monitor it. Who knows? Maybe in a couple of months, we'll whenever we come back from hiatus, we'll have more information. But they are doing a Worlds Collide pay-per-view. It's going to be right before Money in the Bank in LA at the Forum. It's going to be, what's that?
Who is the Worlds Collide from the show with?
It says WWE, AAA, and NXT, so probably stars from all three brands.
So it's interesting to me. Let's bring Cousin Joe on, because I want to. This relates to my WrestleMania thinking.
All right. If you guys watched last night, Cousin Joe and we were on YouTube last night. We randomly we were texting during Mania, and we were having this conversation. And my wife and kids were gone. They went to go do a Mother's Day photo shoot, and I guess dads weren't allowed. And I was like, oh darn. Oh darn, I have the house to myself. So me and Joe, me and Joe, I just like talking to my cousin. So we're like, fuck it, we might as well monetize it and put it on YouTube. But Cousin Joe, Fed Pill Joe himself, he is back on the show for Mania Night 2. Joe, are you there?
I am here, and I got to give JD shit just a little bit, because he said Rey Mysterio was the only Latino star WWE's ever done well with. And then later mentioned Eddie Guerrero, but didn't mention how WWE did a good job with Eddie Guerrero. Guerrero was a huge star for him. Not as long, but he was a huge star. Since
Eddie Guerrero has been dead for 20 years.
Yeah.
Did you say they haven't done good with anyone since?
I have to put parameters on since. Yes, Rey Mysterio came after Eddie Guerrero died, dude.
No. I thought you had said only they only did well with Rey Mysterio. I didn't know it was since Rey Mysterio.
I would add Eddie Guerrero to that. They did a really good job with Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
It didn't draw above what they were having at the time, but still, I thought Eddie was a great champion, but he didn't last long because he was having some issues.
Let's talk reality here. We all love Eddie Guerrero because he was a great performer. Eddie Guerrero didn't draw as champion, which is why they took the belt off of him. So we can say Eddie Guerrero was his big star because he made a lot of great moments, made a lot of great TV. Eddie Guerrero didn't draw as champion, which is why they took the belt off of him. Eddie Guerrero, by his own admission, was a failure as champion.
Yeah. But during that time, WWE as a whole wasn't drawing very well.
No, but we don't blame Vince and Triple H. We only blame the people who aren't Vince and Triple H for those things.
But they did do well with Eddie Guerrero. They pushed him very well. They strapped a rocket to Alberto, but that guy just couldn't get out of his own fucking way. Yeah. And as was broke tonight, should I hit the? Actually, you know what? We're gonna be on hiatus soon. We haven't hit the button in a while, and plus, I think we got to hit the button because Joe's on. Because his brother is the one that does the audio for this. So his brother Rocky is the one that actually, his voice is on this. So I'm going to hit the button.
Breaking news.
Your cousin's name is Rocky Gilbert? That's a cool name, man.
He's Rocky Gilbert 2, and his son is RG3, Rocky Gilbert the 3rd.
That's an awesome name. I love that.
Yeah.
Steal that from
but Rob Viper was like in my comments and in King of the North comments because King of the North talking shit as usual about TNA, and Rob Viper broke the news that WWE and Alberto are back in business together. By the way, I think Alberto is the AAA Mega Champion, and that is not changing as of right now. It looks like WWE is going to keep him on board with AAA.
Woof. Yikes. That's not great.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, I don't know if the word like found innocent it would be the case. I think the charges were dropped on his whole kidnapping and assault case that he had going on there for a while. But that even without that case, like that guy was a complete mess. Domestic violence. He got coked up and beat up a Ninja Turtle, which honestly, I don't have anything against him for that. Like that's just being a dude. I get that part. But the other stuff I don't really like about Alberto. But look, if you want to do coke and beat up Ninja Turtles, you know what? I'm okay with that.
I don't even know how to react to that.
You remember that story?
I forgot about it.
Like there was a guy in Mexico who dressed up as a Ninja Turtle and tried to come at Alberto one night in the club, and Alberto beat his ass. Yeah.
Oh jeez. I mean, he's a character in professional wrestling. Is Alberto a draw in Mexico? I look at those AAA things. I don't think
AAA.
So.
If he were, then AAA wouldn't be selling right now. The AAA is on its ass. So, but he's somebody that they recognize, right?
That's so Vince. That's such a Vince thing to do. Is like, well, this is this guy. We'll book. It's like booking Mil Mascaras in 1997 to come in and do your show. Like, it's fucking wild to me, man.
And they brought in Connect into the Royal Rumble, and 13 years after he had been like super popular. But yeah, no, it makes sense they would book Alberto. Look, when they made the AAA announcement, the only AAA wrestler that was in as a part of the announcement was Vikingo. Because they're going to be doing something with him. He was actually featured at WrestleMania last night. He got involved in the Chad Gable match. But
I think he's fucking awesome. It was great. Good. I mean, that's who I think really kind of wins on this whole thing is Vikingo because he had that AAA contract for a long time, and he's been showcased in the US from both AEW and GCW, and good for him. That makes me happy actually.
All right, you had something for Joe. You had a question for Joe until he got on your case about Eddie Guerrero.
I completely forgot what it was.
We were talking Worlds Collide.
Yeah, Worlds Collide. Who's going to be on Worlds Collide? Joe, what do you think?
I think Vikingo and something with Chad Gable, El Grande Americano, like they very clearly set that up. I could feel JD saying, "What the hell?" Like, what the hell?
That's JD's boy, by the way. That's JD's boy.
He's very happy in the role.
He
loves doing it.
Yeah,
and he's very talented.
Oh, he's immensely talented.
Very, very talented. And you'll see, obviously, the Lucha Brothers, Dragon Lee, I would imagine, is going to get on there. I'm kind of hoping for a heel turn from Dragon Lee somewhere, just to give him some bit of character. because he's had a lot come up that's really kept him off TV. Like they gave him a lot of time off for paternity leave, which I think is awesome. Like good for him. Like they fired guys for that in the past. So like I'm really happy they were able to do that for him, and he seems happy there. But he is so damn good that I want him to have something that the fans will connect with. So I'm hoping for a heel turn just to give him something different, get him out of the LWO vortex. But aside from that, like I really don't. When they announced the Worlds Collide show, I was like, all right, well, Vikingo and somebody, and then they did the segment with Gable. I was like, all right, cool, that could be a match. And I don't know what else. I would like to see Noah brought into it somehow, but I don't think they will.
It's going to be
not part of the advertising. So it's WWE, it's NXT, and it's AAA.
It's going to be NXT and AAA guys with those guys. Assuming those guys you mentioned
with the main roster of luchadors.
Yes, probably some of them. So here's my thought: is immediately we're defining it because NXT is by admission third brand.
Yeah.
So we're immediately saying AAA is on the level of the third brand, same as they've done with TNA, making sure that everybody knows that TNA is beneath WWE, is beneath that the top guy. Let's say, for example, the top star in TNA, the world heavyweight champion, gets a chance to make his debut in WrestleMania against the legendary legend killer, as it may, Randy Orton. Mike, how would that play out if that scenario were to happen?
I think he would be squashed in like 3 minutes and made to look like a geek.
Yeah.
So what you're tonight? I know this is a positive, as a really pro TNA show, and I know that we have to be sycophantic because we're affiliated with TNA. We have to be sycophantic to WWE now. So I have to say it was amazing that the TNA champion got to be showcased on WrestleMania, where he got his fucking ass kicked by a guy who was 9 inches taller than him, and he looked like a complete dork. But he got his title belt on TV.
Yeah, I know you're so anxious to talk about it. We'll get to it, but goddamn, did Joe Hendry look like it? He looked like Dean Malenko in there next to fucking Randy Orton.
Randy Orton is low-key one of the largest dudes in professional wrestling. Like people don't talk about how massive that guy is. But I mean, realistically, did anybody come out of watching that show thinking that Joe Hendry and TNA by extension was anything other than a joke?
So I think JD, and I'm saying this to King of the North, I'm saying this to everybody. When it comes to what you think you know about pro wrestling and what draws in pro wrestling, you got to throw it out the window when it comes to Joe Hendry. Because I'm telling you right now, he went and did his NXT debut and got eliminated in a battle royal in under a minute. And the numbers went up as far as their house show numbers. He lost to Frankie Kazarian, and he stayed over. He lost to Nick Nemeth at Bound for Glory, stayed over. He went to the Royal Rumble, did one offensive maneuver on Roman Reigns, and then got immediately thrown out, and the numbers are staying up. And now he's at WrestleMania in front of a worldwide audience, 60,000 people chanting his name. He got geeked out in less than 3 minutes, and he's viral now. And I guarantee you, nothing's going to change. The numbers are going to keep going up, and I think Rebellion will probably sell a few more tickets than what they did beforehand. I know it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. It shouldn't be this way. But I'm just telling you that's just the way that it is, and I don't like it.
For Joe Hendry, that's great because he has a job lined up when he's done with TNA. When that TNA contract ends, he's going to walk right into WWE. Which again,
you would think so.
Nah, he's going to go right whenever that contract.
But it's not like this is AEW and New Japan.
No.
This is not AEW New Japan where you walk right into AEW from New Japan. WWE hasn't been taking all these TNA stars. They've only taken Jordan Grace.
No, they're taking. No. I'm not talking about TNA stars. I'm talking about Joe Hendry specifically.
Yeah.
Because as we've said from the jump, since that guy showed up in TNA, that act will work in WWE. It's proven. It's proven it will work.
And we just saw what they truly thought of it.
Right.
So it is a comedy. He is a comedy geek act. He has been auditioning for WWE for years. Yep. This was his biggest audition, and I thought he nailed it.
For sure. It's great. It's great for Joe Hendry. He's gonna do awesome with this. Mike, are you hearing yourself repeat? Are you hearing an echo?
I just pulled Joe off because I think he might have put us on speakerphone.
Oh, okay. That was messing me up for a minute. No, I'll keep going. So Joe Hendry, it did great for Joe Hendry. I don't see how that helps TNA as a brand when he's gone.
When he's gone, if and when that happens, I I just don't know. It depends on who they put in line next and how the relationship comes. I think that they treated Joe Hendry like a geek. I think that's what he's going to be whenever he gets to WWE. I don't think he's going to be a major force in WWE if and when he gets there.
But
I think,
Mike, here's the thing about Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is a geek.
Go ahead.
No, here's the thing about Joe Hendry. He is a geek. It works. It's fine. Like, I just don't know if it helps.
I mean, so like,
go ahead.
This Joe Hendry is what Joe Hendry is. The way that they presented him is what people come to the arena to see.
Mm-hmm.
They like the music. They like the spinny thing. They like the cheesy grin. They like the clapping, right? The matches don't fucking matter with Joe Hendry. And they never did. People are like, why would I be interested in Joe Hendry now? I'm like, why were you ever interested in Joe Hendry? Oh, you weren't? Then you're never going to be interested in Joe Hendry. But there was a lot of people in that crowd, and there's a lot of people that were watching that probably think he's funny. They think the song is catchy, and they would love to go and cheer him. So what's going to happen when Joe Hendry leaves? Who fucking knows? What happened when Jordan Grace left? Not a goddamn thing. Now, when Joe Hendry leaves, he is their top draw. Like, he's absolutely, like, him and the Hardys are the top draw, and they're both very likely leaving at the end of the year. But there's nothing anybody can do about it. WrestleMania doesn't change that one bit.
Yeah, but I'm not saying WrestleMania changes a little bit. I'm saying is like when Jordan Grace was booked as like the best women's wrestler in the world, essentially, when she was in TNA. That's essentially how she was booked for the last like 4 or 5 years there, right? Joe Hendry, a comedy geek who's super over, like we said, from the moment he showed up there, I said he was a bad fit in Ring of Honor, never made sense there, will fit much better in TNA. Better than I ever thought, better than anybody ever thought would have happened, quite frankly. Dude is over. WWE has their eyes on him, have for a while. Yeah. He's helping TNA, helping them get exposure, but he's also telling the WWE audience in general that TNA is kind of a joke, right? And then beneath NXT, but it is. So I get it.
Yeah, but TNA knows their place. Like, no one's denying what their place is. Like, no one's pretending they're anything other than what they are, which is beneath. I don't understand what's like, okay, well, what does this do for TNA? Probably going to sell for ticket whenever he leaves. I don't fucking know. They'll probably find somebody else. But what I can tell you is they're only playing the short game right now. And the long game is just trying to get more exposure, get their title on TV for longer. Who knows? But, TNA is not pretending to be anything other than what they are, which is a small company that is, being little brothered by WWE. So, like, Len Asper was tweeting how great it was to see his champion on WrestleMania, because none of those people that were watching him give a fuck about the result of that match. They liked his entrance and they cheered his entrance. And you know what? If they hear that Joe Hendry's coming into their little town, they would probably go see him. And I have evidence of that. I have evidence of that because the numbers are up.
Here's where I disagree with you. I do think those people in that audience did give a fuck about the result of that match because they watched Randy Orton, a guy that they've invested in for over 2 decades, destroy somebody that was beneath him.
Right. But do you think that's going to prevent them from going to see Joe Hendry when he comes to their town?
No, because it doesn't matter. No. TNA? I don't know. TNA is going to get like the same. They've been doing really well with the draws. Do they a few more people because of this? No, probably not. Because by like any significant margin, WWE fans traditionally watch WWE. Now there are a handful that will venture out into other things, but it is a handful, as proven by TNA's numbers. They've done better. They've done better, but they're not getting like, oh my gosh, look at all the people that watch NXT that know of TNA. Like, it's not overwhelming. But again, I'm questioning.
It's overwhelming for TNA. Like 2 years ago, they're averaging like 500 a show. Like, you know what I mean? And like Rebellion's going to have like 3,000 people there.
Yeah, but their upswing started before the WWE stuff even came in. Like we're talking about, it was started.
Not to the extent, like it went from June of last year, it jumped up significantly.
For sure.
Right? Like for TNA's level. We all have to look at the TNA in the context of TNA.
Absolutely.
You got to throw every other company out.
Absolutely.
This has done wonders for TNA.
Absolutely.
Like the only reason people are coming to these shows is because of the WWE relationship, Joe Hendry and the Hardys. That's it.
All I want to say, I just want to be consistent because we've gone on this and we have talked about how awful it was that Triple H destroyed Taz as ECW champion in a matter of minutes. There's literally no difference between those.
But you just corrected Joe when he brought up Eddie Guerrero and you said, well, that was 20 years ago, Joe. That was over 20 years ago. That was
someone dying. No. That was someone different. Eddie Guerrero wasn't proven to be anything as a draw. One, because he died. So
but what I'm,
Two, he didn't draw anything to begin with.
No, he was never a draw, but he was a big star in the WWE. There's a difference between like he was very popular in the WWE. He's
Like,
heavily featured, an all-time legend. That's indisputable. There's no way we can say it, but he wasn't a draw. But there's only fucking 5 people in wrestling that are draws, right?
But
like there's not many people are draws.
But that's the thing is we can't sit there and say, well, someone so-and-so made such and such a star. What does that mean? Especially when you label everyone that promotes that's in your company as a quote unquote superstar. So by
is Eddie Guerrero a star?
Was he a star in his era? Yeah, because like
then what the fuck are we talking about? He was a star.
He wasn't a draw, but my thing is like we haven't made a superstar. Like Eddie Guerrero came over there as a guy who had been bursting from the seams, who had tons of attention to begin with. I want people to stop acting like the WWE made these guys when they all came over as pushed entities because of what happened in WCW. I just get fucking tired of the reinvention of everything. That just because WWE owns WCW now means that they should absorb all the legacy of it, because that's bullshit. Those guys were made in WCW. Not in WWE. Did they get
Eddie
a chance
Guerrero
to
became a bigger
star?
Sure. Eddie Guerrero was not treated like a star in WCW.
Fuck. Eddie Guerrero was over as fuck in WCW. They held back on pushing him. Go back and watch those Nitros. That dude was fucking over. Those crowds were ready to make Eddie Guerrero a star. Eric Bischoff, who gets to make a shit ton of money being a carny dick fuck every week, is the guy that held him back, and then gets to act like he fucking knows what he's talking about when Vince made a ton of his guys into stars, but he was too fucking stupid to push any of them because they were under 40. That's just doing what's obvious. Right, it's taking advantage of what is being given to you. So we can't act like
WCW never got behind Eddie.
No, they didn't.
WCW never got behind Eddie. That's why he left. He went to WWF, and they got behind him eventually. Now, was he ever a major draw? No, but he was still one of the more popular WWE stars of that era. Okay, now back. I agree with you. What they did to Taz when he came on as the ECW champion, fucking sucked. I'm telling you right now. It is for whatever reason, it shouldn't be different. It shouldn't be different. I agree that him getting squashed like a geek should suck, and it should destroy TNA's business. I'm just telling you, I've been witnessing it. I've been covering it every week. Every time I think that it's going to go back down and that Joe Hendry's popularity is going to go back down, it doesn't. No matter what happens to him, no matter what happened with Randy Orton was no worse than what happened at the Royal Rumble, right? Was no worse. Right, he got looked like a geek, and you know what? He stayed extremely popular. In fact, they just had a show in Vegas, and he was like the most popular guy on that show by far. And despite the fact that he got eliminated in less than like 5 minutes at the Royal Rumble with only getting offense on The Miz, right? So I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. I just specifically. Now, I think if it were Moose, because of the way that Moose is presented,
I agree.
Right? Moose is presented like a bad motherfucker, much like Taz is presented like a bad motherfucker, then it would be different because then no one's going to see him as a bad motherfucker. Joe Hendry is presented like a meme comedy guy. And so he goes on a WrestleMania as a meme comedy guy, does his little spinny thing after getting an offensive maneuver on Randy Orton. He hits him with an RKO, hits him again, and boom, it's over. People are into it, and they fucking loved it.
I don't disagree with anybody. I think it works because it's Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Because it's Joe Hendry, it absolutely works.
One thing you got to look at is TNA is doing the same thing they did when Hendry was eliminated from the Battle Royal and when he was eliminated from the Royal Rumble. They're not talking about any of that on social media right now. What are they doing? They've got a picture of Hendry and Orton doing the stare down, and that's followed up with a link to their ticket sales.
Yes.
And that's all they care about. That is all they care about.
Now, would I've liked it better if Randy Orton and Joe Hendry did 15 minutes, a 50-50 match, and Joe Hendry kicked out of some moves and got hit with the RKO? Of course.
You're lying. You would not, because it wouldn't be good. You and I both know this was the best possible use of Joe Hendry.
It would have been just as good as anything else on the shitty goddamn show I just watched. So except for which I didn't get to watch the women's 3-way match that opened up the show, which apparently was pretty amazing, and then I guess it was all downhill.
I got a text from one of our mutual friends.
JD, I want you to be right about this hurting TNA.
I
just don't think it's going to be.
I don't think it's going to either. I just don't think it helps their perception amongst the eyes of WWE fans as being a product that you should take more seriously. Like WWE is not telling their fan base that this title is that this champion is at the level of our guys.
No, but no one thinks that it is.
I
And
know. And it's not
WWE
wrong. I'm just saying that's what they're saying.
advertises for TNA, and they tell you to go watch the shows and to watch their pay-per-views and all that stuff. And here's the thing: like, people always say WWE fans only watch WWE, and for the most part, that is true. When someone leaves WWE and goes somewhere else, the fans don't follow them unless it's CM Punk, right? Very rare occasions do they follow them. Like, they did not follow Mercedes Moné. They didn't follow all these other people. However, when WWE tells their fans to go watch something else, they do. They will go. And I have evidence of that. TNA's fucking ticket sales are through the roof. Now, are access numbers through the roof? No, nobody has access. Nobody watches access. But their app subscriptions, which I was able to find out, like, doubled since last June, right? Now, what was the first number? I don't know. I don't have access to the numbers. But what I do know is that it did double, and that's been corroborated by several sources. So they did double. So how good that is, I fucking can't tell you. Like, I don't have access to the numbers.
I'm really, like I said, I'm really happy for TNA that they've been able to grow. Because again, we covered that show during some really dark days of Impact, right?
Yeah.
Like, I remember going out to Skyway Studios and watching 2021 TNA, and there being 80 people maybe in the building. So I mean, it's really cool. It's a great story of a company that really stuck to what they believed in and just kept fighting through all things. I honestly think TNA is a model of what wrestling promotions should be, and not giving up in the spite of trouble. Like, I really believe that in my heart of hearts.
Yeah.
I guess my whole issue comes from WWE will never ever let someone be on their level, right?
No.
They can never treat someone else's champion as being up to their standard, right?
No.
The champion from another company comes in, he is a joke. And I get that, and we're living in a postmodern age of professional wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Where none of this stuff matters. And I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm just saying that it fucking sucks. That's all that I'm saying. Is like, there was a time when you had champion versus champion, right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm no Judy's an AEW mark. Like, when Kazuchika Okada came in with the IWGP belt to AEW, that was fucking cool, right? That was fucking cool to have two guys that were treated on the same level. Joe Hendry was treated, on the same level as, like, I don't know, Andrade. Like, someone who doesn't matter for the company. I hope he's happy.
I think if WWE sent Andrade to go work for TNA, he would probably be the champion.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, everybody knows the level that TNA is at. There are some delusional TNA fans that don't quite get it. Like, they're not understanding it. But for the most part, TNA knows where they're at. WWE knows what TNA is. We all know what TNA is. And the only people that are really mad about this are the people that aren't watching TNA. Like, like, WWE fans thought it was so cool to see Joe Hendry tonight. TNA fans, by and large, thought it was so cool to see Joe Hendry tonight. They didn't really give a fuck what happened after that. And they thought that the RKO spot was pretty funny. I thought they geeked out their world champion. But because I've learned from last year, because I remember when Joe Hendry went on NXT and got eliminated, I went on a fucking rant. Like, I brought hellfire and brimstone to the podcast, right? I was so mad, and I was made to look so foolish whenever at Bound for Glory, they still sold out. They were like 3,500 tickets. Slammiversary was like almost 4,000, and Joe Hendry was the featured star on both of them. And then they go into Genesis and they sell 4,000 more tickets. And I'm like, well, maybe none of this fucking shit matters anymore. And I get the feeling that all these WWE fans care about is if somebody's popular, has a cool theme song, a couple of catchphrases, and is funny to look at. And that's kind of where we're at.
Like, and that's the thing, though, is like, we've reached this phase specifically with WWE wrestling where none of this shit fucking matters. Storytelling doesn't matter. They claim it does. It doesn't. Like, nothing matters but, like, these starfuck segments, like bringing Travis Scott in, the guy who showed up twice and he's had like major impacts. They never talk about it. They're so easy to bend over backwards for stuff that doesn't matter, right? So it doesn't matter to people like us. It matters to people like us, but we don't fucking matter because WWE has consistently told their audience over and over again that this is the stuff that matters, right? So consequently, they believe it. It just, I don't know if telling your fan base that your program is a joke is good for the long-term health of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we've reached the point where your big brother company telling their fan base that this promotion is a glorified indie, but it's the glorified indie that we like. So you can watch this one.
And we want you to support it.
That we want you to support. That's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. Maybe I just liked wrestling
think,
better when they took this shit a little bit more seriously.
I think we're just dinosaurs.
And that's okay. I can sit there and say it's not as entertaining as I want it to be. And the truth of the matter is most of the TNA fan base is so excited that their company got mentioned in WrestleMania that they don't care that their company looks like a joke. In fact, they're so used to their company being a joke and nobody taking it seriously that they just accept the fact that TNA is a fucking joke. But
JD, they don't see it as being a joke.
I know, but that's the thing. Everybody else does, but it's like when you're abused, right? Like you get your ass kicked so much.
Who's everybody else? Who's everybody else? You know who everybody else is?
40,000 faithful.
It's the snobs. And you know what the WWE fans and the TNA fans do to the snobs? They point and laugh. They don't care.
Dude, no one is snobbier than a WWE fan.
I know, but they're snobs.
Snobbier. No.
What I mean is the
a snob
that don't like WWE, that now by proxy don't like TNA, because they're over here on this conglomerate over here. They like this billionaire better than this billionaire because this billionaire over here is involved in sex trafficking crimes, right? So they don't, their wrestling's not as good, right? So like everybody's picked their side and they just point and laugh. That like literally I see the TNA fans being excited about this. They don't think TNA is a joke. They love TNA. They're going to support TNA. WWE fans didn't think it was a joke. They thought it was a cool, fun moment. And then you have all these people on the outside, and they're all just pointing and laughing at them like, why are you mad about this? And why are you taking this so seriously? We're having fun.
That's the thing, is they absolutely thought it was a joke. They laughed the whole time. The whole thing was played out for comedy. Comedy, by definition, is a joke.
But they like that. They think that's cool.
I agree.
They think it's cool.
I agree.
Like you're saying, you're calling it as a joke, like it's less than. They think it's funny and cool and interesting, right?
It is less than.
None of these people give a fuck what we think anymore.
No,
they just don't. It reminds me of all the people the sanctimonious people that got so mad that Roman Reigns said he supported Donald Trump. Nobody fucking cared. Like nobody cares about this shit anymore. It's like nobody fucking like I read it, I was like, why the fuck would you say that? You're an idiot. You're gonna ruin your career. You're gonna want to go to Hollywood. They don't like him over in Hollywood. And people were like, oh, I'm not gonna support Roman Reigns on Twitter, saying all this stuff. He gets out there in that arena and it's nothing but love and support. It's like nobody gives a shit about any of this stuff anymore.
Well, hold on. You're conflating a lot of things. No one knows how many WWE fans are reading Vanity Fair. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
How big is that Venn diagram? Like,
none of them really care. The only people that care, here's the reason why I brought it up. The only people that care are people like us.
Now, that being said, do you think Hollywood will care?
Not as much as they would have a couple of years ago. I think that's starting to kind of. I think that tide is kind of starting to turn a little bit. We're seeing it in comedy, to where comedy is kind of leaning more another way. Netflix is starting to bring on some more of the controversial stars. I don't think it matters as much as it used to. Mel Gibson just had a decently sized movie with Mark Wahlberg recently. None of this stuff really matters as much as it did a couple years ago. That tide is turning. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're still talking about it. All depends on tastemakers, and like Roman Reigns is still not proven that he's anything that can.
No, Roman Reigns did dick like whenever he was in his last couple movies. So
correct. So I mean, like that's when you are not popular, your opinions can hurt you. Yeah. You know, people do. It's a business where people go, I don't want to work with that guy. He's kind of.
JD, we have a guest on the show. We got to bring back Cousin Joe.
I completely forgot we had a guest on the show. Sorry, Joe.
Hold on.
I was just letting you guys do your thing, man. You guys were going at it. I was just sitting back and enjoying it.
Yeah. No, sorry. So, all right, Cousin Joe, we got to get into the WrestleMania recap because we've already been on for an hour. We haven't talked about the show because JD and the rest of the TNA haters want me to admit that TNA is going to die. But I'm telling you right now, until nobody buys them, they're not going to die.
Dude, TNA is like a set of like gonorrhea. That shit ain't going anywhere. You got it for life. Is that true?
All right.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
No, you can cure gonorrhea now. I think that's penicillin.
Syphilis.
Syphilis.
Sure, you got syphilis.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Joe. How was WrestleMania, man?
So the first half, like the first three matches, I thought were very fun. The women's triple threat match, honestly, both of you. I would never recommend a WWE match to JD. I know my audience. I would recommend that one. I would recommend that one to him. I would recommend it.
You're the second person today who's told me that.
Yeah.
I got a text earlier. Mike and I got a mutual text from a friend of ours that said, "Check out the women's three-way. It's pretty good." And I thought to myself, only wrestling fans can text that to each other and have completely innocent intentions.
Yeah, no, that match was genuinely it will be probably the second best, depending on your taste, maybe the best women's match of the year. I think a lot of people are going to put Toni Storm and Mariah May in that one spot, and that's going to be a tough one to beat. But depending on your taste, I could see and understand if people put the women's triple threat as the best women's match of the year. Drew and Priest, I think, exceeded my expectations, mostly because the crowd was really hot for it.
Hey,
and they actually
Joe, did Slayer play Damian Priest out?
the guitarist did, not the whole band.
Oh, Kerry King, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Damian Priest is going to be like the host of their tour. So he's like going on tour with them and doing stuff. I don't know exactly what, but there was like a whole press release about it. So like they came out and played them out and did really well. A lot of these live entrances usually don't come off really well to me. In Living Color yesterday and the guy from Slayer today, I thought did a great job.
Joe,
not in Living Color. I was thinking of a Jim Carrey show.
Fucking kill you. Brian Alvarez said it on Wrestling Observer Radio. It's Living Color, not in Living Color.
I keep thinking of the Jim Carrey show. Not the Jim Carrey show, but the show that Jim Carrey was on. The
Keenan Ivory Wayans. Come on, Jim.
Yeah,
the token white guy.
He was literally the token white guy in that show.
I keep thinking of that one. But
is there another man that's culturally? Is there a guy who's as culturally illiterate as Brian Alvarez is? Just curious.
No.
Like that man knows nothing that isn't pro wrestling.
No,
Dave Meltzer.
Yeah. Whenever Sting came out to Seek and Destroy last year at Revolution, and Brian Alvarez called it Sting's WCW theme song.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But yeah, the Priest and McIntyre I thought over delivered. The Intercontinental Fatal 4-Way, Brian Alvarez tweeted and Garrett in Discord said he had two other people text on the same thing, that when Dominic Mysterio won, the building was shaking.
Dude, he was over.
He was over.
That's where I came in during that match. Match was action packed. It was every WWE 4-Way, but I thought Braun Breaker looked great. But they're gonna push Dominic Mysterio, and it looks like they might push him as a babyface because he was like the most over babyface in the entire match, which was crazy.
So has he gotten so over as a heel to the point where it went, because usually what happens is like Dom was so bad that people would just boo him, right? Because he was terrible. And then they booed him because like he was being pushed as a really bad heel, which is great. And then it becomes to the point where it's ironic to now cheer him. And now we're just actually cheering him. Is this like,
I think
on the full 180?
That tide has turned really the last 2 or 3 weeks, where he started to get the cheers about the last 2 or 3 weeks, and it kind of reached its peak of him being a babyface tonight.
Hang on. Hold on. I got to pull this up. Acting like Eddie Guerrero was a main eventer before WWE is so ludicrous. He was never pushed past the card. No shit, dude. That's what I fucking said. I said the crowd was ready for it.
Man, I didn't even see that comment. JD went deep in the comments for that one. I didn't even see that one.
It was at the very top of the comments.
Okay, so who won the women's triple threat match?
Io Sky did.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very well done. She was very over. Bianca's starting to get booed.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
why is that? Why is the crowd turned on? I'm not watching. So educate me. Why is the crowd turned on Bianca?
So I think it was kind of a sense of Rhea and Io are so very over, and Bianca was kind of, so like Bianca won the chamber and then kind of got involved in the Rhea and Io match, and so like I kind of think it was intentional booking I think it's time for Bianca to turn heel, and they kind of had her like screw Rhea over, who is the top face. Becky being back now will kind of have something to say about that, but like Rhea is kind of the top face on the women's side, and Bianca kind of screwed her. So that's, I think, why. It might just also be that she's been a baby face for like 5 years now, and sometimes it's just time and the crowd just turns. Sometimes that happens. So, we'll see. We'll kind of see where it goes, but
Bianca kind of got involved in the match, and really nobody really wanted her in that match. I think everybody just wanted it to be Io and Rhea, and Bianca was just like on the outside looking in, and they interjected her against the will of the people. So people are really behind Io Sky right now.
It's really hard to build a 3-way where it feels like all three guys belong. I have to give them credit for last night's main event where
Yeah.
it seemed like the 3-way actually kind of made sense, right? And they actually
Yeah.
did make it kind of work storyline
It,
wise
I
going in. It's
it
hard to
did. It
pull off.
was a really good match. Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to
I
pull off.
honestly, I think, and I really liked last night's main event match, and I loved all the guys in it. Tonight's triple threat blew it out of the water.
Oh,
I really think so.
wow.
Mostly because I think all three women in the match are better right now, better athletes. They did a lot better
Fair.
stuff, and just again, I'm such an Io Sky mark, so like her going over clean, just it made my night. So that really made me happy. But yeah, I just thought tonight's match kind of blew last night out of the water.
Okay, so we got Io Sky won the opener. The second match, who won between Damian and Drew McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre won
Okay.
a solid, so like nothing spectacular, like nothing to go out of your way for, but they did a hardcore match. They really did what I thought Jade and Naomi should have done, just in terms of like having some good hardcore spots, but nothing over the top. I think Drew probably should be set up for Jey Uso later this year. I kind of pitched that last night. I think there's a natural story to kind of go back to there.
Yeah.
And then after that was the Fatal 4-Way, which, it was every Fatal 4-Way ever. But again, the crowd was very into it.
Yeah, they
Dominic,
were hot, and Dom got the victory there. And then so the next match was Liv Morgan and Raquel. What's her last name?
man, I always forget. I think she's going by Raquel Rodriguez now.
Okay.
I'm so used
Raquel-
to calling her Raquel Gonzalez because that's when I saw her in TNA in St. Louis a couple times. That's what she was going by.
You mean NXT?
Yeah, NXT. Sorry,
Yeah.
man. It's 11
So
o'clock for
they
me.
gave her a different Spanish name once she got up to the main roster. So
Yeah.
anyway, Raquel and Liv Morgan defended the tag titles against Lyra Valkyria and a mystery partner because Bailey got fake hurt in an angle because Bailey worked all year to get WrestleMania payoff, and they pulled her off the show because the top women's star in the entire company is back. Becky Lynch was the tag team partner. What did you think of the match, Joe? And obviously Becky and Lyra got the victory.
Yeah, they should have just not done this match. Like it wasn't bad, it just wasn't good,
No,
and the crowd was not very into it.
They were into Becky, and that was it. And when Becky won, they were into Becky's entrance, and they were into Becky winning, and that was really it. They didn't really do anything in the match.
Yeah, it just, I don't know. It was there. I think the crowd would have reacted better to the match as a whole if Bailey was in it. There is built-in story with Liv and Becky kind of going back to last year. So like I kind of get that. I wish they would have taken the Intercontinental title off of Lyra and set that up for like Bailey and somebody else. But whatever.
Yes, JD, Lyra is the women's Intercontinental champion. So
These companies have so many it's not just, it's both of them. They have so
Ring of
many
Honor
titles.
Ring of Honor is introducing a women's pure champion. We're just like, why?
What the fuck?
Like,
why does everybody need a belt? People are like, oh, that person deserves a title belt. They just fucking throw them all out. It's like they're just hold up pants now. Jesus.
It's like Billy Corgan's booking every promotion right now. It seems like. Yeah. So Joe, I want you to give us the rundown. So I actually, Logan Paul versus AJ Styles was next. Logan Paul got the victory. Killer Cross got involved somehow and tried to get AJ to use some brass knucks. The countdown on AJ going to AEW begins tonight, I guess.
Is that true? I mean, like, is that your vibe? Like, did this feel like an AJ send off to you?
You know what? I never know what to think. I think Logan Paul going over either way makes sense because AJ is like getting up there in years, and Logan Paul's like their star that they're getting behind. He's going to be a guy for them for a long time, so it makes sense to go to Logan Paul. I know we don't like. He's a scumbag. I know. I get that, but he's their scumbag, and so he's gonna be in the company for a long time, so it makes sense. I never know what to make of this situation. It could be another smokescreen by WWE to create a fake bidding war between them and AEW for them to be able to win. They've done that a couple of times in the past. So we'll see. Joe, what did you think of the match? And do you think AJ is heading to AEW?
The match was fine, but I think at this point the crowd was just exhausted after the first three matches because they were very, very into the first three matches, and this was kind of the come down. I don't know about AJ. Like he has said time and time again, he wants to work for WWE as a scout and an agent when he hangs them up. but the time of him hanging him up has been pushed off. He said he feels better than he would have expected at this point in his career. He got, that Hulk Hogan diet going on. So
Yeah.
he feels a little bit better in his mid 40s than he would have expected.
Yeah.
They are setting up some kind of story with him and Cross. It's been kind of Cross is trying to do this whole like devil advocate character where he as a wrestler gets people to turn in a way like he every segment he does with another wrestler, he matches their look.
It sucks so
Like
bad, Joe.
he's
I'm
trying to like
sorry.
mirror them.
Yeah, Karrion Cross sucks balls. Go ahead.
I'm not saying it's going to be good. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you what they're doing.
No,
Um,
I've been watching, and it's not any
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Are they bringing prominence to the old Sean O'Haire gimmick, Mike?
I think it's very reminiscent of what Sean O'Haire is doing. But the thing is that when Killer Cross like interacts with somebody that he's trying to manipulate, like he's done it with Sami Zayn and he's doing it with AJ Styles. I think he did with some other folks. He like dresses up like them and like makes his hair like them in order to relate to them, and he's trying to manipulate them into like, I don't know. And like it's not any good. It really isn't.
Dude, Killer Cross has the biggest following for a guy who's not very good.
He's good at social media.
Yeah, you must be. I don't follow the guy, so I can't speak to that.
I've been following him since he's an indie guy, and he's very good at social media. He's very good at getting himself over on social media, using it, and he's very good at interacting with people on social media.
Okay, that explains a lot.
Because of that.
Because I see all the time, be like, oh man, what are they gonna? Why don't they get behind Karrion Cross? I always want to call him Killer Karrion Cross. I'm like, because he stinks at like everything. Like the dude was literally smoking mirrors.
They ruined, or not they, one man ruined any chance Cross had of getting over in WWE. And that man was Adam Cole. When he called out everything that people who watch all of wrestling would know, but WWE fans wouldn't. And Adam Cole told it to him. He said, you've got everything with the company behind you, and then they have to ring the bell. And after that, he was never the same.
Nope.
He was never the same after that promo.
Vince actually fired him shortly after that. Like Vince brought him up in like a weird gimmick, and like he like it sucked, and then he ended up going back to MLW for a little bit. All right, Joe, we'll bring you back. At some point during the show, I cannot even remember if it was before or after this match. Randy Orton defeats Joe Hendry, as we already talked about, and then right before the main event, fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out on a 4-wheeler, and he's just going around the ring, doing circles around the ring, revving up and hitting these corners like super fast. He ends up hitting a corner like around the ring and loses control of the ATV, and then rams into the barricade and knocks some lady over, and crashes into it. And then the ATV ends up stalling out. They have to send a crew down there to get the ATV while Stone Cold's in the ring because they can't get the thing out of there. You knock this lady over. Nick Khan leaves his seat where he's at, and with the like medics and security, and go over to check on the lady. Like Steve Austin, like after he's done, he goes and checks on her. He goes into the ring and then announces the attendance, which is probably inflated, but WrestleTix did have them over 60,000. So I think they said like 64, something like that. He announces it and then does all his gimmicks that give me a hell yeah, bottom line. And then he drinks some beer, and then he goes back to the lady, checks on her again, and then just kind of walks out and flips the bird to the crowd. It was one of the greatest moments in wrestling history.
It really was. You know what? She sold it well, because I've watched that video back 3 times, and it was such a delayed reaction. But if I were her, my neck, my back, my neck, and my back is hurt.
Yes.
I want everything.
Yeah. She should be wearing a neck brace for like until that money clears the bank. Like hell yeah. Get paid,
like Bobby
lady.
Heenan. So here's the thing: is this is a woman who could afford a front row seat to WrestleMania. You don't think she can afford a good lawyer?
Oh yeah, yeah. And like the guy that she was with, I don't know if it was her dad or if it was like her. I don't know. He seemed like he was older. He was like, "Hey, stay down, lady."
Yeah, exactly. That's why Nick Khan came running down. He's like, "Oh shit, we're gonna get sued."
Yeah. We got to work that gimmick.
That's gonna happen. She's gonna sue them as well. She should.
Yeah. And then we get to the main event, and you had the entrances. The match was not much. It was kicking out of finishers and doing like AEW does a lot of kickouts, right? With a lot of like a wide variety of moves. In WWE, the play is that we're going to like, you got your finisher and one other move. Then this guy has their finisher and one other move. and then they're going to alternate and kick out of those. And then at some point, I'm going to do your finisher, and then you do my finisher. We'll kick out again, and then we're going to knock over the ref, and then somebody's going to get involved, and then we're going to hit another finisher, and that's going to get kicked out of, and then eventually we're going to cheat to win. And that's exactly how this whole match went down. John Cena won. Travis Scott helped him, or Travis Scott got involved. Cody hit the crossroads on Travis Scott, the rapper. And then John Cena ends up cheating to win, and The Rock never comes out. The whole match was flat. It just totally fucking fell flat. I'm so disappointed in this John Cena heel turn. It's something I've been wanting forever, and it sucks. Joe, what did you think of the match?
So the crowd was into Cena winning.
Yeah.
I think that was about it. Like the wrestling was like, it was okay. Like not good, but like not terrible, I guess. But the crowd was very into Cena winning. I wanted to give them a chance on the Cena heel turn. I think it would have been more effective if they would have done it in the match as opposed to before the match, to build up a babyface versus babyface. Because like if you want Cena to get over as a heel, I think it would have been more effective for him to turn in the match and kind of do a similar finish, but let the crowd react to Cena turning there as opposed to Cena turning 2 months ago and then being gone for 2 months to film a movie and showing up like twice. Like
And
you don't
so-
have much time to get the heel character over.
You're right.
No,
Like they should have
the wor-
absolutely. They should have like. This is something that like we've been looking forward to and we were excited about. Like even I was like, "Holy shit, John Cena's a heel," and then they did nothing with it. It was just nothing. I think you're right. I think especially because The Rock didn't even bother to show up. I think in retrospect, they probably should have just had him turn in the middle of the match. He probably would have had a bigger moment out of it.
It would have been a much bigger moment. It would have gotten the better heel reaction. I don't think Cena gets cheered if he turns in the match, like turns in the middle of the match and that's the finish. But it really did suffer because Cena was filming that Matchbox movie. He was supposed to have cleared out his schedule, and 2 months after he said he cleared out his schedule, he took this movie that began filming in January.
So hold on. So is John Cena playing Rob Thomas? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, not Matchbox the band. He's in Matchbox the Tiny Cars.
Oh, I thought he was playing like a movie about Matchbox 20. I thought
You're not
I thought it was
smooth, Mike.
3 a.m. and he must be lonely, and he's filming a movie about fucking Rob Thomas. I'm sorry.
You try to get it in there, but you are not smooth. I know it's not a Matchbox song, but that's Rob Thomas.
Joe. Well,
that was good. That was good, Joe.
Yeah, well played. Well played. Okay. So what did you make of Joe? What did you make of the crowd booing Cody Rhodes? Because that was the first time since he's been a babyface that they booed him like that.
As soon as Cena won the chamber, as soon as it happened, I went in Discord and said, this is going to be tricky because there's only one man I think that the fans would boo Cody for right now. They wouldn't boo him for The Rock. If for some reason Stone Cold came back, they would probably boo Cody for Stone Cold. So maybe two men. But Cena was the other one. And that's why I was very hesitant from the beginning, because I thought the fans wanted to see Cena win 17. And they proved me right. I don't know where you go from this. I don't know where Cody goes from this. I'm pretty sure we're going to get Cena versus Orton at Backlash because that's in St. Louis. And I think Cena will get booed there. I think the St. Louis crowd will be very pro Orton. He's kind of a god in St. Louis. Like even at the UFC event, like
unless he needs to sell tickets for NXT, then they got to move him to a smaller building. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. It fell flat to me. I would like them to use this as an opportunity to get somebody else over, and then do Cody versus Cena 2 without the title. I try to not fantasy book anymore because they keep rejecting my resume, as they told me I'm not a real writer and I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, they're right about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, they are, but still, I know better than them.
I think they're gonna go with Cena and Punk. I think that's been the story. He was a part of the Elimination Chamber turn, and he came out cutting the promo on the Raw afterwards. He seemed to be the only guy mad at John Cena, and not Cody Rhodes, to be honest with you. So I think they're gonna go Cena Punk eventually.
I think Cena's gonna get all the hits this year. I think he's gonna get Punk. I think he'll get AJ again. My pitch has been I know you guys don't watch NXT, and I'm not saying you should, but HBK's whole thing is just stealing things that he did in the 90s and then redoing it for NXT. let's just steal Mick Foley beating The Rock for the title and just have that with Sami Zayn going over John Cena. Like you have Cody Rhodes come out and help him do it in Montreal, like where it'll get a huge reaction. Like just steal your previous ideas with a guy that fans love who hasn't had the title before. Give him a 2 or 3 month run. Like you could have Cody come out, help Sami Zayn win. Cody can play the Stone Cold part. The crowd will pop for it, and then you can do Cody versus Cena without the title later for Cody to get his win back, and then Cody can go after maybe Drew for the other title or something else.
Man, I think they're flipping that belt right back to Cody, and they'll probably do it towards the end of the year when John Cena leaves, and then they'll turn John Cena back babyface. Is what I'm thinking.
You're probably right.
I'm curious about Cody because I've seen this happen before, where Cody's a super babyface, and then the crowd decides we're bored with this guy. Like, so I've seen that. I'm curious to see how they avoid that this time.
Yeah, he's only gotten booed in Vegas, and he got booed on the SmackDown before the show.
Was that in Vegas too?
Yeah, that was in Vegas. But he was able to turn that crowd around with a very good promo. I don't think they were. I really don't think anybody could have gotten John Cena booed in this match.
Here's what I wonder though, is because sometimes fans do things just to kind of entertain themselves, and we haven't seen that with WWE in a long time, where the fans just kind of want to, I think we're gonna do this now, just to kind of spit in people's eyes. So I can't help but wonder, because Cody has this issue with his own self-awareness sometimes, where he almost like doubles down. Like I am of the mind that Cody Rhodes is not a real human being. I think he's an automaton that was designed, and that he just reacts things. He has no self-awareness. Like he's like
I'm pretty sure Dusty Rhodes built him in a lab to win the WWE title for the Rhodes family.
He's the fucking Manchurian candidate.
Kind of, because Dusty was disappointed with Dustin, and he's like, I got to do it better this time around. Like there's something about Cody that lacks authenticity. I was even going to say it's not just authenticity. It's like sometimes I don't think he's aware of himself. Like you listen to him talk about himself sometimes, and it's like Triple H levels of self-aggrandizing. But it's like he has a hard time when people don't love him, right?
Yeah.
Unless he's trying to not make him love him. And I'm just a big fan. I think that what disappoints me about Cody is this: what we have in AEW, and WWE is the AEW version of Cody Rhodes. I would love to see a return to the Ring of Honor New Japan version of Cody Rhodes, where he was just a fucking lunatic.
I think that time will come. I don't think it's soon, but I think that time will come, and it's probably after Roman leaves.
He was really good in that role.
He was very good. He was very good as a shithead heel, and I think him being so good at it in Ring of Honor and in New Japan and on the Indies is why the AEW fans rejected him as a babyface so hard, is because they loved that version of Cody Rhodes.
That's a good point. I never heard that. Joe, that's a really good point. I never thought of that before, because you're right. A lot of that fan base.
I've never heard that either.
But that's actually
Joe, that is a really good point. I've never heard that.
That goes every now and then. Yeah.
That's smart thinking. Because it was fun to boo that version of Cody Rhodes. And I think Cody took a lot of those boos personally, when I think you're right. I think I'm guilty of charge. I wanted to see that version of Cody on a bigger stage, because in my opinion, that's the best stuff Cody's ever done personality wise. Like New Japan Cody was fucking great.
Yeah.
Like the Ring of Honor Cody that made the Ring of Honor that MJF kind of ripped off. Like that's a fun version of Cody that I think most WWE fans would actually really enjoy as a character.
Yeah, and there's just got to be a time and a place for it. I think the time will come, and I think Cody knows that time will come, but it's got to be somebody else who's going to tell him it's that time. And for it to work, there also has to be another baby face, like another over baby face, because like WWE got so hot because they had so many over baby faces and one heel. They had one heel, and like the rest of the bloodline were heels, but like it all revolved around Roman. Roman was the son that everybody revolved around as the heel. So it's going to take somebody else being that heel or that baby face, that white hot baby face, for Cody to turn. I do think it'll come eventually. I just don't think it's yet.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we are running out of time. We've actually gone overtime, which is fine. We're going on hiatus, so we'll go a little bit long. Before I let you guys go, I want to just recommend some matches, WrestleMania week matches. If you are Fight TV Plus or Triller TV Plus subscribers, they had a bunch of stuff. JD, find a link. If I see a link, I'm going to get it to you.
Okay.
Minoru Suzuki versus motherfucking Butterbean.
That happened?
It happened. It was at the WrestleCon Super Show. It is by far the absolute dirt worst professional wrestling match in my life, and it has to be seen by everybody. It was great in the fact that Butterbean was just in a wheelchair, but now he can walk, so he's in pro wrestling. And him and Minoru Suzuki went at it. They had no idea what they were supposed to be doing. Dan Severn was the referee. Don the Predator Fry was at ringside in Butterbean's corner. It was absolutely a shit show, and I think everybody needs to go and check that out. It was amazing shit show.
I have a pitch for you guys, or if anybody else, if somebody maybe from the Observer is listening, we need a Diamond Dallas Page Award that can be awarded to just somebody out there who is making professional wrestling better. Because Diamond Dallas Page, like WWE should pick up on it, get rid of the Warrior Award and rename it the DDP Award, but they're never going to because, Dallas Page wasn't a huge star and he's not, kissing their ass constantly. But somebody needs to make a Diamond Dallas Page Award and award it yearly to somebody who's making the world of professional wrestling better.
Joe, that's two excellent points on the show, but unfortunately, you had an addendum with that really infuriated me because Diamond Dallas Page drew money with WCW. Goddammit, he was a star.
Yeah. He just didn't draw any money with WWE. He had fake teeth and was like a self-help guy.
What a weird thing. So Josiah, our good buddy Josiah says you need to compare it to Suzuki versus the Doll. I will never, ever watch a Yoshikiku match. No.
Yeah.
I have self-respect.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't do blow up dolls. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, buddy.
No.
Can't do it.
Not since you were 16 at least, right?
For real, yeah.
Joe's on fire tonight.
I know, Joe. Joe, I don't want to push you around, but I will. Sorry. I want to push you down. Sorry.
Go to hell.
Let's go Rob Thomas jokes the rest of the night. Anyway, so this is a serious match. Megan Bain versus Bozilla. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Bozilla, but she's a beastly woman, very good athlete. Like a larger woman. She's just as tall as Megan Bain, but she's thicker and muscular. I thought that match was pretty awesome. I actually watched Dragon Gate USA, and they had one of those guys from MLW on there. Shun Skywalker was in the main event. It was a trios match. But I watched the main event of Dragon Gate USA. That one was really good. I watched Joey Janela versus Sabu because why not? It was a barbed wire match.
How bad?
It was a complete clusterfuck. Yeah. It was terrible, and it was enjoyable to watch. I'm a worse person for having seen it, and I suggest that all you other really bad people should go out of your way to watch that too. So there's my suggestions from I watched Masha Slamovich versus Miyu Watanabe. I didn't think it was anything special. So but I'm a fan of Masha Slamovich. I don't know anything about TJPW. It was suggested to me by our buddy Scott E Wrestling to go and check out. It was a fine match, but it wasn't anything that anybody has to go out of the way to see. So that is all my suggestions from WrestleMania week. Cousin Joe, man, you were a great guest. Thank you for educating JD and I on the world of the Fed. I appreciate it.
Yes. Hey, happy to be on here. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Stay safe. Make good choices.
All right. Thank you, Joe. I want to say a happy Easter to everybody that celebrates Easter. My family and I enjoyed the day today, which is why I didn't get to watch much of WrestleMania because it is Easter Sunday. So we actually celebrated together. So that is going to do it for us this week. Again, we're going on hiatus after next week. Next week will be our last show before we go on a break, probably a couple of months. And we will be recapping the TNA Rebellion show. We'll see if TNA is able to survive Joe Hendry getting geeked out in 3 minutes by Randy Orton. I don't know. Maybe there won't be a show. I don't know. According to some people on the internet, there might not even be a show. But there will be a Mike and JD show next week. We'll be here live. JD, good luck in Vegas, my friend. You got a big week. Go kick some ass. All right, guys. That is going to do it for us this time. And until next time, mahalo.
Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you brought your A game. Made no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's the click, so I hope you brought your A game.